Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. This is Riverwalk Talk. My name is Chip Harrington. I started this show a little while ago, kind of as a community service, just to sort of profile some different people, issues that are happening, not just in Ludlow, but all around Western Massachusetts. One thing, I was really active in my local government for many, many years. And one thing that local governments do, I think, really great, certainly in Ludlow, is support our veterans. We've got, there's more and more veterans that have been coming back because we have been unfortunately involved in different wars over the last few years. So we have a lot of veterans that are out there and need a lot of support. And I can say in Ludlow, we've had a really great response in supporting the men and women that have served in the armed forces. And a lot of that credit goes to Eric Segundo, our Veteran Services Director. So I reached out to Eric, see if he would be interested in coming on the show today to talk about some things that his program is doing. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about Eric. How are you, Eric?
Hey.
How you been?
Afternoon. Good.
What a beautiful
Awesome.
day.
It is.
So we were just driving over here and he had a Yankee hat on. And he said, should I take my Yankee hat off? And I said, yes, you should take your Yankee hat
So
off.
if I have any sunburn, it's
I know, it's going to be my fault. So, all right, we're going to start over here.
All
So,
right. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the show. You did say you saw one of the episodes, but start up here at the cul-de-sac. It's 1.1 miles to head over to the clock tower. And nice little day for a walk. You said you're going to get some steps in today. And we'll talk about all sorts of things about you. So before we kind of really get into the Veteran Services Department and the really great work that you're doing over there, you and your team, I'm kind of curious about you. Where were you born and raised?
So I was born and raised Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Hence the Yankee hat.
Okay, that makes sense. Understandable.
Moved to Massachusetts in 1990.
Yeah.
Actually, so it was funny. A friend of mine brought a house up here, and we came up to visit one weekend.
Yeah.
And the next month, we had a U-Haul packed and
Really?
living in Massachusetts.
Like in Western Mass, right around here?
Western Mass, yeah, right in Springfield.
Oh, cool.
And then probably in 2003, I was unemployed, and I was looking at some job classifieds, right? They were saying they had a job fair on Federal Street in Springfield.
Yep.
So, okay, I'll go down there. So I ended up in the Federal Building, not Federal Street.
Oh.
I walk into the lobby, and here's a recruiter, and he says, "What you here for?" "I'm here for the job fair." He goes, "That's Federal Street, but if you need a job, I got a job for you."
Okay.
I was like, "Okay, show me." Yeah. Sat down, and 30 days later, I'm in basic training down in the Army.
So you left from this area for basic training, or this was back in Brooklyn?
No, this was here. So
Oh,
I moved back to Mass. I was
see.
living in Mass, and I was unemployed, so I went to go apply for a job.
Okay. How old were you at this time?
28.
Oh,
So I
28. You went in
was-
later, huh?
I was one of the oldest ones in basic
Oh,
training.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. So you went looking for a job, and the recruiter's like, "All right, I got one.
something for you."
Yeah, I got one." So did you ever prior to that? Had you given it any thought
No,
about the
never,
military?
Never anything. But in 2003, we were watching the news coverage of the invasion into Iraq.
Yeah.
And we all remember, the Twin Towers, September 11th.
Oh yeah.
Being from New York, that was iconic to us. So, there was really no debate. I'm going. So once he showed me what was available for me to do in the Army,
Yeah.
I jumped right on. Like I said, within less than 30 days, I found myself in basic training.
That's a very interesting story. So what was it that, kind of the recruiter or kind of drew you to the Army versus maybe another branch?
To be honest, was the money.
Okay.
It was the bonus to sign up right on the spot.
Wow.
What they didn't tell you was that bonus was going to be taxed and divided into 4 annual payments.
Oh.
So you really don't see any of it by the time it's all said and done.
Little recruiter tricks that they do, huh?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you say we moved back up, were you married at the time?
I'm married, my wife, yeah.
Okay.
We were together. We had my son and my daughter when we moved here.
So how did that conversation go when you got home and said, "Hey, I'm going to go to boot camp for a while and I'm joining the Army"?
Well, I think we're so, like I said, I was unemployed. So we were in a little struggle. So
Okay.
I think it wasn't, I thought it was more of a job security,
Yeah.
being able to bring in some income right away, once you sign. So
Okay.
I guess the experience wasn't what she was going to expect, but, we did.
You were making it work. She was down for it. So, wow, that's interesting. So tell me about that process. So you go through MEPS, right?
Yeah, I went to MEPS in Springfield.
Yep.
I actually went and left here Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
So we get down to Fort Benning is where I did my basic at. And here we are, Memorial Day weekend. Nothing to do because it's a holiday weekend.
Okay.
And sitting down in basic in processing, and so we did our basic training there. Graduated from basic, and we headed over to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Just to back up a little bit, Fort Benning in the summer really stinks. I don't say that in a bad way. It's just
Okay.
it's I guess the sea
Is there
level, so the smell.
Is
the
there
ground.
a good way to say that?
Yeah, I guess not, right? And then we went to Fort Leonard Wood, and I was there till I believe it was like September, October when I graduated.
And that was for your advanced training?
That's the advanced training.
Okay.
So I joined, and I was a motor transport operator, or
Okay.
88 Mike as they called it, the MOS.
Yep.
Learned how to drive trucks and trailers and, big rigs and 5 tons and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Then I get down, and so they give you, when you're in AIT, they give you an option like where you want to go. Here's a list of places, you pick 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so I kind of like did some research, and I was like, okay, I want to go someplace that I know when I get there I'm not going to deploy. We knew that at that time everybody was leaving.
Yeah.
There was no doubt.
Leaving
But
meaning getting deployed.
Leaving, getting deployed.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that my wife that I had her stable and the kids were stable before
Right.
going anywhere.
Okay.
So I researched all the locations, and I saw that Fort Stewart was on their way back.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely didn't want Fort Drum.
Okay.
Who wants to be up in the winter time up in Fort Drum with the
Is
heavy
it
snow?
Is it Dakota? One of the Dakota?
No, that's up upstate New York,
Oh, okay.
right up by the Canadian line. there.
Okay. Yep.
I picked Fort Hood, and of course you always want to pick Hawaii or in Alaska, so I picked in Hawaii.
Okay.
No one's gonna get Hawaii, but you put it down anyway. Sure enough, I was assigned to Fort Stewart.
Okay.
Headed down, got down to Fort Stewart. As soon as I walked through the door, they said, "You're 88 Mike," and I'm like, "Yep, that's my MOS." They go, "Okay, you're gonna be the Sergeant Major's driver."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Okay,
Whatever.
all right, whatever."
As long as you pay me, I'll do what you tell me to do.
Right, exactly. So the position, which is a driver, my MOS is, but the whole time in the Army, I never drove a truck.
Oh, no kidding. That was your training, but
That
you
was-
never did it.
I never did it. So I was his driver. And then when I got there, like I said, they just had got back. So now they're training to deploy again. So I deployed to Iraq, Sergeant Major's driver. So we were considered what's called a QRF team, a quick reaction team.
Yep.
Think of another way to explain it, like a high value target. So his rank, he becomes a high value.
Correct.
And we were with the colonel, the battalion commander at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to make sure that they were taken care of.
Did you go through like advanced training as far as like tactical driving and things?
Yeah,
along those lines?
yeah. Well, part of the MOS you did all that.
Okay.
But in this case, now we're running like a 4-man vehicle up and down in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we're stationed in Taji, Iraq, which is about 12 miles north of Baghdad. Beautiful base. They serve us lobster every week on Sundays.
Lobster in Baghdad?
Yeah, may not be the real thing.
I was going to say, maybe it didn't really come from Maine.
But it wasn't from Maine, but he was in charge of the brigade at that point. So we would visit all the different outposts so he could see his troops.
Okay.
So we were always on the road.
Yeah.
In Iraq. Every day we get up, where we're going, we do a security brief and all that, and jump on the Iraqi
Yes.
highways and
So you're kind of like almost like a Secret Service guy for.
kind of like that's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, did you run into any issues where there were, some hairy situations? Because, like you said, he's a high value target.
Yeah, so in September, so we deployed, we got there in January. So let me back up a little bit. So when we got to Kuwait before we deployed forward, we brought our Humvees from the state with us. These were metal doors, but they were open, or as you call them, soft shell Humvees. they call
Okay.
them. And we jumped in those trucks from Kuwait, headed all the way into Iraq. So when we got to Taji, the unit that was there was like, "You guys drove all the way up here. These
Yeah.
things are banned from coming up here like this. You got to be up armored."
Yeah.
We're like,
Because it was like IEDs and everything. I mean, there was,
Yeah, right, exactly.
You weren't even given that.
And we weren't even given any, but we were just regular soft shell Humvees. So those end up becoming what they called the FOB vehicles.
Okay.
The forward operating base. So they never left the base. They were like our little
Yeah.
transport inside the base.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So yeah, then we would go on these missions, and in September, one of our missions, we left that morning, and our lead vehicle was hit with what they called at the time an EFP, which is an explosive force projectile, which is
Okay.
a upgrade of an IED.
Okay.
It was laser triggered, kind of like they were using garage door opener sensors kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wired. It hit the first vehicle. I was in the second vehicle.
This is in your convoy.
In our convoy of 4.
Okay.
Driver, passenger were killed instantaneous, and the gunner was severely injured.
Okay.
So
In just that vehicle? How about your
in
vehicle?
that vehicle.
Did
No,
you-
the first vehicle was the one that got hit.
Yep.
We maneuvered around the, as they call it, the kill zone, provided security, and then helped our guys.
Okay.
And then we waited there until backup showed up and helped us
Yeah.
get us out of there.
So you did see some hairy stuff over there in that role. How long? So when you initially signed up for the Army, how long was your contract?
It was a 4-year contract when I signed up. And then in Iraq, I re-enlisted for another 2 years.
Okay.
But what had happened is, in the workup to leave to Iraq during training, I had injured my foot. And the option was have surgery or deploy. So I chose to deploy.
That seems very opposite. If you hurt your foot, you can have surgery, or we can send you into a war zone.
Right. So while I was downrange for that whole year, I was on like 1,000 milligrams of Motrin every day.
Oh goodness.
For the pain in my foot.
Okay.
Within two weeks of getting home, they had surgery. They opened the foot up, broke the bone that got attached.
Okay.
But it was never the same. So
All right.
between cortisone shots and soft shell and hard cast and soft boot and all, probably about 8 or 9 months, never got healed.
Oh, all right.
Now the unit's getting ready to leave again, and they weren't clearing me to go, so I ended up leaving the military on a disability.
Oh, okay. I see. So how many years total were you?
4 years. I
just
did my
4
4 years. I never
So you
got to
signed
do
up
the-
for the two more.
Never got to
but-
do the
okay.
extra.
I understand. Okay. So, so you do your time there. You get home back here to what? No, where was your wife at that time?
So they were at Fort Stewart,
Okay.
but when I left to Iraq, she moved back home to Mass. So now here I come in home back to Fort Stewart. She's packing up Massachusetts, heading back to Fort Stewart.
Oh, okay.
And then getting ready to get out the Army, my sister was in North Carolina. So we ended up moving to North Carolina. And we stood out there for, I don't know, about a year, 2 years. And then Mom was here in Mass, so we ended up coming back home to Mass just to be closer to Mom.
Okay. And that was here in Western Mass again?
Yep,
Right around
Springfield.
here. All right, Springfield. Okay. All right. So what year is this about now?
So 2007, I got out of the military in 2007, so 2009-ish. I made my way back home.
Okay.
Then I went to my local veteran service office, say, hey, I'm a veteran. I was reading online all these benefits and assistance. They looked at me and they said, you're a young guy.
Yeah.
You can go get I won't fill in the blank,
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not what I read online. So that's what I ended up researching. So I ended up going to school full time through my GI Bill. And then while I was going to school, an opportunity opened up to do what's called work study, or VA work study.
Yep.
And I went through Don Kuchar in the Veterans Office.
Yeah. Yep.
So as a VA work study, I was assigned to him. So in a sense, I'm getting paid by the VA to sit and learn veteran services.
Okay.
And I did that for 2 years, while I was getting my degree.
What's your undergrad in?
I got a associates in criminal studies, criminal justice, associates in business management and a bachelor's in general studies.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Was that in person or online? How were you doing those?
The original one I did actually while I was in Iraq.
Okay.
I got my associates. I finished up my associates while I was in Iraq, and then came home and finished the rest.
Okay.
So then, Don Kuchar was getting ready to retire. Perfect opportunity for me to apply for the job. Knowing the caseload, everything that was happening in the office. But I did, we did have a couple of candidates, and I fought my way through there.
Yeah. Well, as somebody, I'm not a veteran myself, my son is, but I can say you've really elevated that position to not just, here in Ludlow, but really Western Mass. I can't say enough good things about the work that you've done since you got here for everybody. So as you were kind of working for Don and kind of going through school, did you know that you wanted to kind of stay in that veterans world, kind of just supporting the men and women?
Yeah, I thought it was a great, again, the just being able to help someone and giving them that life-changing opportunity, whether it's through benefits or services, filing a claim for them, and they coming back to the office saying their claim was approved, and they got a retro check for $30,000. Those are life-changing moments that, helping a veteran get off the street, get them into housing, get them into the VA system.
Yeah.
Those are the things that, even to this day, are still satisfying when we accomplish those.
Oh, I can absolutely imagine. And, you're a product of it. After September 11th happened, prior to that, we had conflicts here and there, but we kind of had a steady military force. But after September 11th, we kind of went from here to here at war for many, many years. So the amount of veterans out there has quadrupled probably since 2001.
Yes, yes and no. So the veteran population has increased, but the difference between our current generation and, let's take Vietnam, is that our current generation have deployed multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're increasing the roles, they're just deploying more often.
Yeah.
So someone who went to Vietnam would have done one tour, where someone from Iraq and Afghanistan have done 3 or 4 tours.
Sure.
So we're using the same force.
Right. And for, in the more modern conflicts that we've had, is it true that they were relying on kind of that citizen soldier more, the National Guard? They've been deploying quite a bit.
So after September 11th, the National Guard and the Reserve Force became prominent. And they were deploying more often than the active duty.
Why is that strategically? I guess from
manpower. I thought all I could say is manpower.
Okay.
It was extra bodies that weren't part of their active force.
Yeah.
So they backfilled all the locations with National Guard folks.
Right.
Like when I was in Iraq, one of the units was from, ironically, a National Guard unit out of Georgia. Mm-hmm. There was our support unit.
Okay. So as a veteran services, as a veteran yourself, and just government in general, there's just a lot of red tape, right? It's just layer after bureaucracies and all that stuff.
Very frustrating.
Very frustrating for a veteran who, like you said, you signed up with something that you found out, it's not necessarily the case, or, you got to read the fine print, a lot of these things. So veteran service officers like yourself, you have become very important just to kind of wade through all that bureaucracy for individuals coming back.
Yeah, so the job itself has changed over the years. What started, a VSO back in the day was, the mayor of the town goes down to the local bar and says, hey, you're a veteran, you're going to be my VSO.
Yeah.
To where it is now, where you're required to have training, certification,
that's
testing.
Good. That's great, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It weeded out a lot of those VSOs who weren't given the passion that they had when they first started. Yeah.
Well, I know for a long time, when I was a selectman, we had a part-time VSO, Joe Alves, older guy at the time, come to the town hall 2-3 times a week, kind of a thing, and then it kind of has evolved. But like I said, you've taken it to a whole new level, and it's been, our ceremonies that you put together. We have now a veteran center that you have put together.
One of a kind.
Yeah, let's
the only one in Western Mass, actually.
Let's talk. I remember at the time you went to town meeting and you were like, here's my plan, and it was kind of a big ask if you think about it.
It was, yeah. So it was We needed a location. I mean, the closet that I had at Town Hall
Literally a
wasn't going to
closet.
help. During that time, right around COVID, food insecurity became really big in our veteran community. So here we are setting up a food pantry in the conference room at Town Hall, moving food in and out once a week. It's just, we couldn't accommodate for the need. And once you tell folks these are the benefits that are out there, word gets around and it increases. So went to town meeting, we wanted to lease a space. And if you take the dollar amount that it would cost to lease the space to the benefit we're providing, there was no comparison.
Yeah, and to town meetings' credit and to the local community, they've always been very supportive of veteran services.
And that's maybe one of the reasons why after 13 years I'm still here. The community has been very supportive. The town, the elected officials have been very supportive of veterans and our programs.
Yeah,
I hear war stories from other VSOs that they even have trouble trying to get a laptop that they've had after 5 years. And I'm like, we don't have that problem in Ludlow.
Yeah.
But maybe as well too is we show them the stuff that we provide our veterans. So it's
for sure. Yeah, we can look at the work that you do and recognize that you're doing it. You're showing up every day, and you have a lot of volunteer staff. I know you need more actual help there, but you're kind of relying on a lot of volunteers.
Volunteers, without the volunteers, I couldn't do what I do. The problem comes is when you have the confidential information that only you can touch because the volunteers are not allowed. Yeah. Whether it's HIPAA and all the requirements.
Yeah.
So the volunteers help me with the pantry. They help me with the events and the setups and the takedowns and all that. But when it comes to the administrative work, so one of the programs that we run is Chapter 115. That's a financial assistance program. Think about like a public assistance program for veterans. Veterans coming home, or just veterans in general, low income, having troubles making ends meet, they would apply through our office if they live in our town. And if they qualify, we provide them a monthly check, financial assistance, fuel assistance, medical assistance, co-pays, prescriptions, stuff like that.
That's great.
That benefit also applies to widows, as if the veteran's alive.
Okay.
But that's case management.
Yeah.
So when I started with Don Kuchar, we were probably about 26 cases. I've been at a high of almost 46.
Okay.
This is 46 cases I'm managing every day in the computer, uploading documents, approving, submitting for payment, getting checks made out. That's time consuming.
Yeah.
That's administrative work. I tried doing that at the same time we're filing VA claims because, as an accredited, not every city or town VSO is accredited. I'm accredited with the VA, which gives me the authority to file VA claims on veterans' behalf. The idea is if we get them on a VA claim, it's federal funded, it takes the burden off the town on the Chapter 115.
Sure.
So we've managed to bring our caseload down to 26 right now through other means, finding alternative sources of income, whether it's VA claims, widow's pension, Social Security, whatever it is. We help process all that.
Right, and that's just one facet of what you do. Yeah, there's so many other things that you do over there. So getting back to the actual center itself.
2,400 square foot facility, full-time food pantry. We're distributing almost 10,000 pounds of food a week.
Wow. Serving
almost 400 families come through there when we're open. We have our veterans lunch, veterans coffee hour. We have a dentist hygienist that comes in and does free cleanings once a month for our veterans. We have an extra office space that we use for whether a veteran's job seeking, he needs a computer, send a fax, check his email.
Right.
We also use the office for counseling, so we had like the vet center would come and meet a veteran. So the veteran's coming in from a different community to travel all the way to West Springfield. Well, Ludlow becomes the middle point.
Sure.
So we give them the space to meet with the veteran.
Are you primarily focused on just, you're the Ludlow Veterans
I am the Ludlow Veterans agent. When it comes to benefits and services, I always tell the veterans, you need to see your local person. I don't turn anybody away. I would refer them and connect them with their VSO. But the food pantry, if a veteran comes in the door, how do you tell a veteran?
Of course.
Well, I can't give you food because you're from Springfield.
Right, yeah. If you're hungry, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But we've been able to, between some state grants
we'll go over here.
and some donations, we're able to sustain the work we do again with the volunteers.
Right.
You know.
So you're primarily, you're a Ludlow Veteran Services officer, but you really service people all around. How often are there like annual meetings, monthly meetings that you get together with other VSOs?
Yeah, so there's a monthly VSO meeting. I used to attend them frequently, but with the Veteran Center, and you out of all people know what a mom and pop shop is.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's, so the Veteran Center I'm the only one, right, other than a part-timer. So I just can't get up and go to Boston for a meeting.
Yeah.
Who runs the center?
Yeah.
When it was town hall, it was a different story. I would just put a sign on the door, go upstairs, see the clerk's office, something like that.
Yep.
So I haven't attended a lot of those meetings, but Zoom made a lot of them possible. But I still have to do my annual certifications and my trainings. So we're working that.
Yeah. And you held a position in the state as well too.
So I was a state commander with the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. I am currently the national council member. So think of your senator or your congressman from Mass. I'm the representative from Massachusetts, so I'll go down to DC and represent all of Mass veterans.
Yeah, okay, so you'll meet with Congressman Neal or Markey
Congressman
or whoever.
Neal, all of them, all 11 Congress folks from Mass and the 2 senators.
Right, okay.
We've gone down and met with them.
And that's over and above what that's an elected position, correct?
But again, these are, if we can get down there, these are the game changers.
Yep.
If you go down there and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing with my veterans, this is what we need, these are the laws that we need. If they pass it, then it brings it back to our community to help our veterans.
Of course. But as far as like work outside, you've got your day job.
Yep.
And then this job is kind of like.
Yes, it's all extra, right?
It's all
above
extra.
and beyond, non-compensated. It's all volunteer.
Right, exactly. But you've been at that for almost 10
I'm actually
years.
on my last year now with the council member job. So July 1st.
There's a term limit to it or
it's
something?
It's a 4-year term, so I'm on my 4th year.
Okay, I see. What is there something else that you can go beyond that as far as the VFW goes?
I could, but I won't.
Okay, yeah.
So that's your national leadership team.
Oh, I see.
To become national commander, running the whole country in a sense.
So you've got 13 years under your belt as a VSO here. What's on the horizon? Because you're kind of a visionary. Like you're kind of a person that looks way down the road. Like what do you see?
So I'm looking at Ludlow being a regional center for veterans regionally, be supported financially by the legislature for a regional center, having several VSOs, not just myself, having one maybe dedicated just to claims work. So any veteran comes in, wants to file a claim, go see someone who deals strictly with the Chapter 115 side, and then the food pantry. We've been there actually 2 years yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We made at the Veterans Center, and we've really outgrown the space already.
Yeah.
It's just, they say open the doors and they shall come. Well, they're coming.
Happen, yeah.
They're coming. And, again, we're not going to turn anybody away.
Right.
But, there's only so much we can do with the volunteers.
And you do a lot of really creative fundraising as well, too.
We try. We try, absolutely.
I know, and we could maybe walk up and take a look at one of those over there. You've got the banners, the banner program that you did.
Yeah.
And I think you just had another round going out now, right?
Yeah, so all the banners that went up last year are going to all come down. All the new ones are going to go up. That wasn't a fundraiser. That was it's a straight cost.
Oh, okay.
But again, the person ordering the banner pays for the banners because we didn't want to put a cost on the town for it. But it's been successful. Everybody's been requesting banners. We're actually up to almost 100 banners ready to go up next week. We're going to start working on putting them up.
It looks really cool. If you haven't driven down East Street, we got a bunch of shadows in our faces here. If you haven't driven down East Street in town, right behind here, we have these decorative poles. I'll show you in the post clips here. And real nice banner.
Yep,
that was
veteran submits their name. They either have to be born and raised from Ludlow or join the service from Ludlow.
Yep.
And families are honoring their loved ones that have passed away with their photos. Some of the photos are beautiful. They're back from World War II and from their service, their basic training photos.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I've seen other towns, do it, but I just think it looks great. It just really gives a nice decorative look to East Street when you're driving down, and they're really well made because we've had some crazy storms come through here.
We've had a couple come down. So out of the 100 up, maybe we lost about 5 in heavy winds. It was a really windy year.
Yeah.
But we figured out new attachments. Instead of using zip ties, we're going to use rope. So maybe that'll hold a little longer.
And you had this is all volunteers. I know. Yes. I would drive by and see like Derek DeBarge and your crew, putting these things up.
All volunteers.
Yep.
There's only myself and a part-time clerk. Everyone you see in that center is all volunteers.
Yeah, yeah. It's truly amazing. How can somebody reach out to you? I know you guys have a website, but what's the best way if somebody's watching this and they need some support?
Yeah, so call our office, 413-707-5050. That's the main line. Our website, our social media is very active. Any information you need on what we're doing, events coming up, or how to support us is right on our website and our social media. But come down, take a look at the center. See where your tax, some of your tax money goes to is to support our veterans here in Ludlow and the surrounding communities.
And this is, it's for veterans, but their families as well.
Yes, we support their families too. So we also have a lot of widows. So, a veteran passes away. Prime example, let's just say a veteran with 100% service-connected disability, they're getting almost $4,000 a month. They pass away, the widow applies for benefits. That benefit's cut in half. Okay. So they go from a $4,000 income to $2,000.
Yeah.
There starts a struggle.
Yeah.
Taxes are going up, property taxes. So, if we can provide them some food to alleviate the cost, whether now they can take that money and pay their electric bill, which again is also going up, or fuel in their oil tank, it helps a lot.
Yeah. What's your? I know we're wrapping up the show, but what's the number of veterans that you know off the top of your head? Like, do we have how many people you service over there?
So in the pantry itself, we have 789 registered participants.
Okay.
789 are registered participants. In Ludlow, we have over 1,000 veterans, and 30% of them are receiving VA federal assistance, federal compensation, which is one of the highest small community compensation. So last year, the VA monies coming into the town was almost over $800,000.
Okay.
Fourth largest, next to Chicopee, Springfield, and West Springfield. We were the number 4 in compensation coming back into the community from claims from our veterans.
But that could be a credit to your department because maybe you're just a more active, there's more resources
I don't want
available.
to take the full credit for all, 400 veterans receiving that, but a lot of it comes through our office that we provide, or veterans come in and we file for increases. We have widows, again, their spouse passes away. The new PACT Act that opened up new presumptives where widows can now file claims for their Vietnam veteran husband that died from a cancer that previously wasn't approved, can now apply. So all this is having the center, having the compensation and the support of the community, veterans population increases in Ludlow, more money comes into the community.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, it's a great resource. We're very fortunate to have Eric and his team here, supporting veterans here in town, but really the whole region. And it's only going to get better. The longer you stick around, you can't retire. You realize that there's no retirement plan for
7
you.
years.
So yeah, you're counting already.
You asked me my long-term plan. 7 years.
That's your plan. Okay. Okay. Well, you can just become the volunteer after that.
Then I become the volunteer.
Right. Exactly. So, I'm going to have the link below to Eric's office, the Veteran Services, and the phone number. So if you need to reach out, very responsive. I've sent him emails right away. Gets back to you right away. Super responsive. So we're really fortunate. So that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you soon.